Hey guys, welcome back to the Timber Ridge Outfitters podcast, or TRO for short. Today we come to you from the beautiful Red House Winery here in Nacogdoches, just off downtown Nacogdoches. You guys really should check it out. Our last podcast we just shot here with the great folks from Envelopes from Hope. So make sure you check in on that charity. It's really close to our heart. So make sure you check in with those guys. So what goes hand in hand with them are awesome club that the event's held at, and that is the Pine Sporting Clays. And so we've got a couple of guys here with us today from the Pines. John Cobb, who is actually president of the club, and another board member, Dwayne Shoutout. And so they're going to talk to us a little bit about what goes on out at the Pines and what they're trying to do and what the vision is. And for those of you who haven't been there, you're missing out. So how's it going, guys?
It's going pretty well.
For those people who've never been there, what do people need to know about the Pines?
All right. Well, first of all, we're located in Lufkin, just south of Nacogdoches. We're a shotgun-only club, so the only thing that we shoot are shotgun. We shoot targets. There are no pistols or rifles that are shot at our club. It's a shotgun only, and we're basically open 7 days a week. But when I say open, it's kind of it's a private club in the fact that nobody actually works there. It's all volunteer run, volunteer based. Volunteers do all the work. You become a member, you fill out an application, you become a member, and then you kind of go from there, and you kind of get your feet wet and you learn and progress from there.
Well, and you kind of have to be careful with that without having range officers there 100% of the time and things of that nature. You want to make sure that people are vetted on who goes out there and shoots, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, anybody can join. And we say private club for the sole fact that nobody works there, but the one thing that is judged about you is your gun safety. If your gun safety is good, we are welcome with open arms. If your gun safety is bad, we're going to say something to you maybe once. The second time, hey, you need to go, not come back, basically. I know that's pretty harsh, but in our sport, we don't get a redo.
Exactly.
I mean, gun safety is number one priority for us.
For sure. As it should be, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So you guys hold a lot of different events and things out there as well.
We
not
do.
just the clay
We host 5 NSCA Sporting Clays events every year, which is the National Sporting Clays Association. We host those events, and then we host 2 to 3 charity shoots a year, with Kimberly's Crate Crush being the biggest every year. Last year we had 160 shooters. It's the second weekend of October every year. It's a huge event, and it's a great thing to be part of.
For sure. What all different shoots or what all different ranges do you guys have out there? For those of us that I obviously know, I've shot with you guys. It's a great time to shoot with these guys out here.
Well, we're in the process, really, in the last year or so, of expanding what we offer. If you come in right to our doorstep, the front door of the club, you're basically going to see, 2 skeet stands right there that anybody can use. Then right next to those 2, we have a field 3 and 4, and those are basically 5-stand setups. We actually have this time period on field 1 because we don't have as many skeet shooters or trap shooters as we did in the past.
Yeah.
We actually have that set up as kind of we call it kind of the sissy course, or you may want to call it the junior course for when it comes to a 5-stand.
Yeah, sure.
Generally some easier targets. If you like shooting 410, 28 gauge, 20 gauge, those are really set up for those instead of field 4, which is pretty much set up for 12 gauge, and you better bring it when you shoot on field 4.
For sure. I can attest to that.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting, a couple of them this past week. We also have a main course, a sporting clays course, basically, anywhere from 8 to 10 targets per station. We have 13 stations on it. Typically, it goes up to 100 targets, and both those basically have 2 machines, and you're going to see the same pair every single time. So, station 1, 8 true pairs, you're going to have those.
Yeah.
We also have now we don't always have that open. That's mainly for our shoots, but generally after one of our NSCA shoots or charity shoots, we'd leave those open for our menus just because it's easier to maintain what we have up front compared to what we do in the back.
Yeah.
We also
that's the one we use for the clay crush,
yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love shooting that.
And we change them every shoot, so
Yeah.
you're never going to get quite the same. Something's going to be different, something a little bit more challenging, depending on what our target setter wants to do.
Gotcha.
We also have what we call, you go down the hill, a super sporting range. 6 stations. It goes up to 50 targets total, the combination. And basically, on each station, you have 3 different machines, and you're never going to get the same pair twice. You may get a single, you may get a report pair, But the goal is, hey, you're on your toes and you have to think your way through it. And it's actually, I enjoy that more than I do the main because I got to focus a little bit more and it's a little bit more challenging and, don't have to go.
That sounds
But
cool.
we're also getting did some clearing this past year ago to hopefully to where, hey, we're have multiple courses later down the line as we start to expand.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that. Where you're talking about trying to expand it, or
Well,
are expanding
a
it.
couple years ago, our club bought an additional, I think, 35 acres. And that puts us at about 114 to 115 acres on site to where we're located. We would like in time to have 3 sporting clay courses or say 2 sporting clay courses and a super sporting course. That's in the long range plan. Right now, we basically have 2 sporting clay courses or a sporting clay course and a super sporting course during our NSCA shoots. When we get to it, when we expand, we should have at least 3 courses with 13 stations, and we can set up whatever we want. We'll be very versatile in our shoots that we host. So, like, say, for example, if the Clay Crush for Cancer, if they pull 240 shooters, we could have 3 courses running, and just we have the ability to grow, and we're trying to get there in time.
Well, that's awesome. Hopefully we can make it.
We're going to make it one day, I promise. We will make it.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
Well, and that's something that we wanted to, as a shop, being local, and we wanted to be affiliated with, the best that we can, and carry the best product we can in house and such. So, being able to work with you guys is a privilege on being able to find what you guys need, what your shooters need, and what you want, and being able to offer a place to go shoot. I mean, it's pretty easy. Like, we have your numbers that we can give out if somebody wants to come out and shoot. I think it's on the sign out there as well. It's pretty easy to get in touch with anybody if they want to.
Yeah.
Yes, and on the opposite side of that, it's great to pair with somebody that, that publicizes our club is what you guys do. But also, I think the city of Lufkin and what you're doing in Lufkin has been needed for a while, because I've got people talking, hey, where do I get a gun fix? Well, you go over here to Timber Ridge now. Oh, where's that at? It's on the west loop over there by the post office. Oh, well, I haven't seen it. Well, you need to go check it out. Hey, they got shotgun shells. Well, we, as a club, we shoot a lot of shotgun shells. Hey, where do I get them? Well, you just drive over here on the west loop now and you pick up shotgun shells. Things like that. And it's starting to come together to where we're sending people your way as appreciation for what you've done for us.
And,
Awesome.
and we've seen it, and I appreciate that. I mean, one of the things that we saw the need for was the main shell that you guys shoot, and how these stories we've heard of, we'll go down and buy pallets at a time, and everybody will split them. So Johnny and I had that discussion, and we're able to get with the only importer in the country who actually brings in Bornagi shells. So we now have a partnership with Abel's down in Huntsville, and we work with those guys to be able to offer Bornagi locally without having the shooters having to go down there for them. So,
And speaking of that, like, I think that shell, I'm not pushing that shell, but that's the best bang for your buck, to where you're getting a high quality shell at a really good price.
I do not disagree with that.
I mean,
it is awesome.
I mean, you could pay whatever you want for a shell, but, at the end of the day, those Bernagis will, shoot just as good as any shell that you buy.
And clean.
And clean.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
well, between them and working with you guys also, it allowed, or I don't want to say forced, but, it also put together a partnership with Briley for us as well, where we're doing a lot of things with Briley to make sure that we keep Briley chokes on hand and some Briley equipment and things. So it even has opened up my eyes and allowed us to be able to work with some folks that haven't done too much with in the past. So so it's a privilege for us too. So.
Well, it's just a welcome sight because, not a lot of people invest in shotguns or like sell shotguns locally to what the shotguns that we want to shoot.
Sure. That
are reliable to where, hey, you can go over to Timber Ridge, you can get this gun over here for a pretty good price that you're not going to find anywhere else in the state.
Yep.
That's pretty prideful for me.
Sure.
So I appreciate that.
And as part of it with working with you guys, one of the things that we're offering is the membership discounts. As a member, with the Pines, you do get discounts with us. So for when they're shooting, or they need that other choke, or they need a button, a extended mag release or bolt release or something like that, we can help with all that. And members do get discounts. Membership has its privileges.
Yep.
It's very appreciated because it's now, and Cobb will tell you this, it's all randomly, hey, I got this morning off. I'm going to Abel's. I'm going on an ammo run. He's one that, hey, I'm going to Abel's. You need any ammo? And we got a chain of guys that do that. And now that's just helps us out a lot. Just the convenience there has made it definitely worthwhile for us.
Great.
Well, the club is awesome, and that's something that we were trying to get across and share with the community in Nacogdoches as well. Because that's one of the things that I've noticed and have seen is that there's not a lot of crossover. And we want the word to be out more on the Pines as far as, hey, guys, you got to really see this to believe it and to be a part of it. Because it is an awesome facility, and you don't have to go to Houston for a facility like that.
Nope.
That's the kind of the class and caliber it is.
Exactly. And growing.
Yes, expanding. So
Yep.
in time. It's funny you say that. I had a guy from Nacogdoches actually call and inquire about hosting a sporting clay shooting, to raise money for their charity, and it would be it's a Nacogdoches-based charity. And he said, we talked for about 45 minutes to an hour, and the last thing he said was, "Do you think it would bother the people in Lufkin that people from Nacogdoches are coming over to shoot?" And I kind of started laughing. I said, "Nah, not in the shotgun world. I don't think so. Maybe in the rivalry of sports, but not the shotgun world. I think you'll be all right."
Now, maybe your baseball team, that's a different story.
Yeah,
we know that.
The rivalry between the baseball teams hot and heavy right now.
Oh, yeah. I
Well,
can imagine.
And for those of you who don't know, Mr. Cobb here is the head coach for Lufkin Panther baseball. So Johnny and I both do live in Nacogdoches, but Lufkin, to me, there's not as big of a line there as what it is to most people, and or to some people, I guess. But I want those folks to be able to take part in the things that are going on in Lufkin area. It's just like Johnny and I've done some stuff with Angelina Rifle and Pistol. That's actually just about as close as it is from Nacogdoches as it is to Lufkin.
Exactly.
And so, for those people who are here who haven't taken advantage of the Pines, who haven't taken advantage of Angelina, you're missing out. So
Yep.
Now, in our leagues, we probably have 15 to 25 shooters from Nacogdoches come over every league and shoot with us, and I mean they come religiously every league.
Well, you guys got to come from all over the place, though, too, right?
Yes, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, some guys drive in from Houston during the week and shoot in our league, but there's 20, 25 guys from Nacogdoches come over every week to shoot with us.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
So, yeah.
That's good. I mean, believe me, being right here and shooting since I was a kid, it wasn't until a few years ago that I even knew it existed. And I know when did it start?
It started in 1961. And basically, a group of gentlemen was just looking at a place, for lack of a better word, the word is to get away from their wives every now and then in the evenings. Yeah. I know. But that's how I was introduced to the club. In the early 90s, my dad started taking me out there on Wednesday nights, which is generally kind of the social night where a lot of people go out there. We'll cook, we'll shoot. Nowadays, we play 42 as well, when you can no longer shoot. But that's what he took me out there, and that's how I learned about the Pines, and that's why I take my voice. It's the same. I mean, so it's a generational thing where, it's just grown ever since.
So on that note, what all 4-H and kids shooting training? I mean, that's one of our big things. Is how do we get more folks educated? What do y'all do with that?
Since COVID, the 4-H shooting thing has exploded, big time. I know we have Angelina County, Nacogdoches County, Shelby County, Polk County, Houston County, and Tyler County dabbles in it sometimes. There's one or two. But those youth groups, those 4-H group, you can't just say 4-H because there's also high school shooting groups.
Sure.
There's 4-H, there's FFA. They come and shoot at our range. And they have different nights they practice, like every other Monday. I think Nacogdoches and Angelina shoot. And then, like, Tuesday nights, there's some 4-H shooters, not very many. Thursday night, once a month. But the youth shooting has blown up.
Wow.
And this past year in Angelina County, at the youth fair, they had a shooting division, shotgun sporting support. I think they did 50 sporting clays, like 25 trap, 25 skeet. And I want to say they had right at 61 or 62 kids sign up for that. And that's the first time they've ever hosted that.
God.
And that's just our youth fair.
Wow.
Now, that has nothing to do. That's only kids in the county that can shoot. And, I mean, it has exploded basically since COVID ended.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know we did that event. I'm sorry, we did that event. Duke had us come out for that event for the 4-H, and it was big. It was huge. I was surprised. There was a lot of folks, a lot of kids out for that.
Yeah, Duke McCall and then Chuck Griffith. Those are the two that kind of get everything going with the youth and facilitate the youth shooting sports for our club.
And Chuck has been a big benefit to us
Huge.
as far as I've picked his brain on a lot of different things, and he sent me some people, and those guys have been great for us.
So we'll collect this information after and put it in the description on the below the podcast. But we need to get how do folks get in contact if they want to get their kids involved in the 4-H. Maybe Chuck's not the right number to call, but we want to get that information, and then as well as the Pines.
Most definitely, we can get that done.
Yeah, for sure. You were going to say something a minute ago.
Well, it's just like the youth explosion. A few weekends ago, I'm at the Whataburger in Livingston, and I run into the Turks. They're the main ones at the Polk County. They were on their way to a shoot that day. And I wouldn't know them from a hole in the wall. It hadn't been for, hey, seeing them at the club and, hey, in passing, how's it going? Where y'all shooting today?
Yep.
They looked at me, where are you shooting? I said, well, I'm chasing baseball today. Of course, I ain't shooting today. So. Cobb doesn't mind that. But it's really grown. It's really, I enjoy the fact that, my youngest son, that he started to get involved. But he shot at the youth fair event, and it's just another way to get kids involved in something out there and meet a different group of friends, and it's been really good.
Yep.
It's funny you mentioned the Turks. They're making it a family affair for sure. They're picking up another gun with us. He's picking up his who knows how many they've got now, but I've got one at the shop for him now. For mother-in-law has decided to take it up. So, well, that's awesome. We can accommodate for that. So, yeah, it's not just for the kids and all. So they've and I remember when Eddie first started shooting, and it was awesome. It surprised me. These kids are far better off than I'll ever be at shooting. So.
Oh, yeah. I can't tell you how many people we've had, adults say, that came out, brought my kid out, and he or she, because there's a lot of female shooters, youth shooters. I'm talking about a lot. He or she, this is the only thing that we can get them out of the house for, get them off their phone. They love coming out. And if they're going to shoot, I don't care what it costs, we're going to pay it.
Exactly.
Because this is our time together.
Oh, yeah.
There's dozens of people that have told me that in the last calendar year, which is a really good thing. You're spending good quality time with your kids, and you're teaching gun responsibility and gun safety and things like that. And that's bonding time.
100%.
We spent a lot of time when my kids were growing up with baseball and basketball and sports, and I look back on things and I wished we would have done more with the shooting sports. I look at that, and now I do try to push and covet that, and I'll tell you, as you mentioned, the he or she ladies, the young ladies out there, you can't discredit it, because in all honesty, from what I've seen with our history, or with my history, and in teaching and seeing different training and stuff going on, the girls and the ladies tend to take to it a lot easier than some of the guys.
100%.
There's no preconceived notions, and I've seen them a whole lot better shooters, become better shooters faster than some of the guys. So it's awesome. It's great sport for them.
Me and some buddies went up to another shoot, NSCA shoot in Terrell a few months ago. And on the super sporting range, we got behind where we were basically following a young lady. She's the secretary on the A&M trap and skeet team. And it was just a pleasure to watch her shoot.
Wow.
At that point, we didn't really care what we were doing with the super sporting at that point. And she ran away she was top 5 in all events that weekend. But it was pretty impressive just to see her and what she was able to do. So
For sure.
We have an affiliation with the local Girl in a Gun Club. Jan Bailey Martin is who's awesome. She is. Well, she was talking about she recently went to an event where she was shooting out of a helicopter, where she was shooting in a car, driving a car and doing different things, all things that had to do from a Girl in a Gun Club. And but yeah, I've got things where she shot.
I went to Timber Ridge the other day, and I saw a flyer or a brochure at your shop, and I picked it up because I have an 8-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
And I remember going home and Googling that and looking that up and like, hey, we're into this. We're going to be into this.
Jan is awesome. If you want to have anybody who can teach your daughter or teach anybody, she does a little bit of everything. But and they have one of our last videos, a video we shot with Kimber, was out there on their little range that they have set up at Angelina. But they do, and she does all sports. She's working more on her shotgun. She was out at the one we did for the Lions Club down in St. Augustine.
Yep.
And that was one of her first shoots, and she loves it and she wants to do more. So I'm sure you guys will be hearing from her more soon.
For sure. Well, one of these days when we get to the next event, we'll obviously be out there for the Clay Crush video on it, but we need to get hooked up with you guys and video some of these things and show them the courses, and just kind of make it another podcast, but kind of following folks.
Actually, we have a shoot coming up the first weekend of August.
August 5th.
August 5th, here in less than a month.
Awesome. And what specific shoot
It'll
is
be
that?
it's the Rooter Rampage. It'll be an NSCA shoot. In an NSCA shoot, anybody can shoot. You don't have to be an NSCA member, or you can sign up the day of. It doesn't matter. Everybody can come shoot. We'll have 100 sporting clays, a main event. Then we'll have a 50 bird super sporting, a 50 bird 5-stand, a 50 bird 28 gauge, and a 50 bird 20 gauge.
God, no.
For that.
Wow.
So that weekend, and it's going to be hot, but that's part of it.
Yeah.
I'd rather be doing that than anything else.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the biggest thing for people to know is it goes back to you got to see it to believe it. I mean, if nothing else, set up a time, contact us, and we can work with you guys on getting you set up with them, on going out, seeing the course, seeing the place. Again, being able to see it, to understand, what these guys have out there. It's one of those things, well, you'd never believe. I don't know how many people I've talked to that said, well, I didn't realize they had something like that in Lufkin. So it's an awesome facility, and it's very well worth checking out.
100%. And I will say I've shot with these guys, and as we talked about earlier with Bubba, this past event, or what did y'all call it, the Spring League, and that was absolutely awesome. I enjoyed every second of it. Great group of guys to shoot with out there. These two obviously shooting out there every time as well. You can always learn something. It made me buy a new shotgun actually because of that.
Yeah. Some of those league nights are pretty fun, and then other nights are pretty frustrating. Like some nights you might shoot a box of shells and hit 4 out of the 25.
Yeah, for sure.
Those nights aren't real enjoyable.
No, they're not. For sure.
Well, guys, we really appreciate you guys coming out and talking to us. It's something that we wanted to get out there for everybody to know about and see, and we appreciate your time and coming out with us. But I hope that our partnership can grow. I know we've talked more about doing some things where members, or when we sell firearms to someone, we can give them the option of being a member, getting a discount on membership. So those are some things that we're working on and having have down the road. So, but yeah, if you have any interest in it, don't hesitate to stop by and talk with us at the store, or we can get you in touch with these guys. So, and we probably put some links on our page too.
For sure.
All right.
And
Well, we appreciate your time and having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming out,
appreciate
guys.
it.
And don't forget, subscribe to our channel and make sure you like it and share it with everyone else. We do appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.